All right, hello everyone, and welcome to the 12th episode of the Average Ghost Podcast. And I am joined here with Dylan. He made it. We finally got fucking connected, and our schedules and shit worked out. So,
after Aaron just whisked himself away in the middle of the night, just disappeared, and didn't even tell me he was going to be hijacking my podcast with another guest. This dirty bitch over here.
Shit. I had to put out content.
I got a bone to pick with the two of you, though. I mean, no, by all means, put out content, but for sure, like, send a brother a text or something. Like, if you're going to have your side bay on, like, you got to at least, like, give me a heads up, man. Like, I got a little bit of feelers hurt. I mean, I saw that in the morning, and I was like, what? You take my podcast?
Oh, shit.
Because I know, I get it. You're the true host. You run the website and all that shit. But, I mean, you know, if we were going to be... You ever listen to, in combat sports, they have that guy whose voice is like, big JW with the big right hand. He's like Australian or some shit like that.
Yeah.
The voice, that's me. I'm the voice of this podcast. I know you think you're kind of a big shot, but, you know, I mean, come on, I'm a big deal.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if you're going to do it without me in the future, by all means, I know the listeners need some shit. Do it for them, but... give a brother some heads up. Like, come on, man.
Word.
Yeah, I mean, it would be cool if we could, like, touch on that podcast, but I haven't heard it yet either. Sorry, guys, I'm not even exclusive enough to hear my own podcast before it gets put out. I'm in the dark, too. So, well, I guess this is on Thursday, so I won't be in the dark by this point, but we're taping this on a Sunday night, so
yeah,
I'm in the dark as of now.
Well, finally, we're, like, ahead of the game, and
I know.
now we'll have...
Lord.
I know.
Thank God you did that 30-minute by-yourself podcast.
Yeah, they kind of bought us some time, and maybe we can keep this shit rolling and do one on Tuesday or some shit for next Monday, and just...
we'll get something in this week for sure.
Stack it up.
And, I gotta be on top of that shit. I'm in, like, full-on project mode right now. I just keep getting lost in days. Like, I haven't... Dude, like, honestly, like, I'll just look at my clock and it's like 9:30. Like,
yeah.
I'm just done. Like, and 9:30 doesn't seem late, but I work at 4 in the morning, so 9:30 means I'm not asleep till 11, and that means, you know, shitty sleep every day. Just killing myself. Like, I didn't sleep for shit this week at all. I didn't even really sleep in much today. I was supposed to have a tea time. Play some golf because I'm fancy as shit.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I was supposed to play some golf this morning, and then I ended up waking up
sleeping
like
through it.
No, I didn't sleep through it, but I woke up 15 minutes before my tea time in Marysville, and I was like, "Yeah, that's not
shit!"
Happen. Well, yeah, I mean, my buddies were there already, so I mean, they were only missing one out of the 3 people, so like, it wasn't too bad. But I decided I'd get up and be a productive member of society.
It's cool. Always good to do that. My schedule since I got out of class has been completely fucked. Like now that I don't have a reason to like wake up, it's just been fucked. Like I'll stay up until 5 in the morning. I'll go to the gym, then I'll come home and go to sleep until like fucking noon or 1.
That's awesome. Yeah, I saw that you posted that podcast. It was like, or posted that post just finished, and it was like I looked at it, and it was like 6 hours ago, and I was like, what the fuck? I was like, it's 7 in the morning.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Yeah, like
I think I finished actually recording it at like 3:30 and then posted it like half an hour, 45 minutes after. Yeah. And I had written a blog post to go with it. Like it was just a super productive night, I guess.
Thankfully one of us is.
Well,
yeah, dude. Well, yeah, because you texted me. I was at dinner. I was at this place called the Hollywood Tavern in Woodinville, getting a beer, and I had a fucking blackened salmon salad. That shit was delicious.
Oh shit, Northwest Seafood.
I know, you fancy, huh? Yeah, that shit was baller. But me and my girl, and then my buddy Jordan and Sarah, who just got married last week.
Yeah, that was the wedding you were at?
Yeah. The one I told the story on the failed podcast that didn't get to be put up because shit got fucked. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, but Yeah, so we went down to the Hollywood Tavern. It's right in Woodinville by Woodinville Whiskey. They got like a couple like exclusive taps and stuff, and
yeah,
it's a badass place. Like I guess you'd call it like the new modern or something like that. It's really like, I just call it like rustic or vintage, but that's apparently the new modern, which doesn't make sense to me.
Well,
you know, where it's like wood and like steel and stuff, like that kind of decoration.
So it's like, vintage, but
yeah,
the
but
hipsters...
it's like a very new version of vintage. Yeah, it's like, what? It's like, you know, this was just built, but it's vintage. What? Huh?
It's hipster vintage.
It's pants with pre-cut. Yeah, that were pre-cut. Yes, it is jeans with just cuts and holes in them.
Oh, Jesus
Christ.
Christ.
Yeah, that place is awesome. So we were there. And then you text me and you're like, hey, man, podcast tonight? And I was like, fuck, no, I can't tonight, because I was literally had a beer in my hand and I had to come home and go to sleep so I can make that fucking tea time. And then you go and sleep with some other girl, man. Come on.
Shit. Whatever.
Jesus.
Scott's not some other girl. He was there first. He was there first.
But, like, I'm way better, so love you, Scott. But I'm really excited to listen to that podcast, though, because, I mean, it's enjoyable to hear Scott as serious and talk about serious issues, but I also just miss his laugh.
Yeah.
So thoroughly, if he doesn't laugh, you're a piece of shit, and I'm kicking you off as host.
There wasn't a whole lot of fucking laughing.
If he doesn't laugh, though, I'm just saying, like, if I don't get, like, a solid at least 12 seconds of hearty laughter, not, like, in a row, like, it doesn't have to be a solid 12 seconds from, like, start to finish, but, I mean, like, if there's not a collective amount of laughter, then, like, I'm gonna have to kick you off.
I feel like we dove into, like, serious topics, though. It wasn't so much.
Well, don't do that with... You talk about farts and stuff. Like, talk about... Tell his Jimmy John story. Where he had the guy drive him to his house and shit. Like,
I'm drunk. Can you deliver a sandwich and me to my house?
Me to my house. Greatest thing ever.
Oh, fuck.
Wonderful.
So, you were saying that you wanted to dive into some thoughts that you had about the solo podcast.
Yeah, I had some stuff. I mean, I was actually trying to pull what Nathan had written up so I could give some feedback, but I had a second. Okay. All right, here. I'm going to read it off if you don't mind.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to take a piss while you read it off.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good, man. So I finally sat down and listened to this. Lay Sigh. This is by William Penaluna, cousin of ours. Really good insight. Wonderful man. Love you. So I finally sit down and listen to this. Lay Sigh. Firstly, it sounds like you've got some pretty bad anxiety, man. Secondly, as far as podcasting goes, you constantly contradict yourself. You talk about the gym in almost the same breath you talk about being discontent with it all. You talk about schooling like telling people to go out and do that even though you yourself are miserable doing it. You talk about how you were dumb and people should do school early in life while saying it's the time in your life you look most fondly on. You talk about how adulting took you away from things you love, but then being the most important and beautiful thing in your life. You need to work on contentment. I believe you are feeling a sense of stagnation in your life. It is good to have big dreams, but it becomes negative if you are weighing your self-worth on how long, or even if you reach them. There is no enough. There is only you. You don't have to be the star of every motivational poster, and those people on the edge of a mountain every day and those people on the edge of a mountain work every day and go home every night and save enough money and time to do so and are not unlike you most days of their life. They also spend so much time being that they can't be other things in life, which is 100% okay. We cannot do everything. It's so easy to compare yourself to what you think other people are doing or be blinded by all the push yourself motivational shit. You are inadvertently putting lines in front of yourself and feeling like you aren't good enough or that you can't take a step back lest you be the victim of your own self-criticism. For listeners, I know this is a long-ass rant. We're halfway through. Slow down. Breathe. If you find your mind is running faster than you can keep up with, then stop, meditate, appreciate, and slow your brain the fuck down. We live in a culture that propagates perfect self-images without ever really looking past what we see in a 4-second scroll by. It's not the technology's fault. It's just in our nature to self-deprecate in the absence of direct purpose. You've already got a story to tell, adventures you had, loves had and lost, and think about that. You've only lived at worst a third of your life, and the first 15 years are almost irrelevant. How much life have you experienced in such a short time? You are learning every day and going to school, training your body. Nothing to regret about where you are. Just be there. And that's a rant, folks. I fucking love Newman. Well, I mean, like, at the beginning, you read this, and it kind of sounds like a direct kind of attack. But really, when you get down to it, he's not saying much more than we all need to hear. There's nothing attacking about this. It's completely honest. And this is a big point in where I was a lot of the time when I was listening to the podcast. Is I understand that you were just coming from a point, you know, where you were having a panic attack, and you're like, oh, my life's worthless, and then you run, and you know, and then you go and do this podcast. And, like, it's good fuel, but you got to ask yourself, like, is it the right fuel? I mean, so my biggest question is that how you're feeling all the time, or is that how you're feeling right then?
It's not an all-the-time feeling. It's that specific feeling was just right there. Like, I've never had an instance like that. Like, I didn't know that it was a panic attack that I was having. It was just kind of like in the moment you realize what the fuck's going on, and it was like, oh shit, what is that? And then like, oh, okay, I'm freaking out a little bit, so I need to breathe. But I don't know. You know that I have a heart condition, right? Like, yeah. You're aware of that. Well, they said that by the time I hit 35, I'd need to have, like, angioplasty and shit like that, where they put a balloon in my fucking aorta and blow it open because it might get stenotic to where it's hardened and doesn't flap as well as it should. So
it's cauliflower ear.
Yeah. Well, it's getting to that point. Like, I'm getting to that age where I have to start being more mindful of that. And, I don't know, just my whole life, I never thought I'd make it past 25, and now I'm 28. So it feels like I'm past that point where I had predisposed that my life would finish at. So every day is kind of like just a reminder of my own mortality, just in my own mindset. Like, it has nothing to do.
Die like next Thursday?
I mean, at any time. I don't know.
This is because your heart, or you just think that you're gonna die?
It's just my heart mainly. Like, that's the most realistic thing that would kill me. I mean, I'm always concerned, like, oh, I could get hit by something. Like, it's just a back of the mind thing. But because I have the heart condition, it's more of an issue than I think it would be for most people my age, where they're just like, oh, whatever, I'm in my 30s. It's 30's the new 20, blah, blah, blah.
I'm gonna say the most realistic medical advice, okay, right now. You need to get off of the military base and smoke some weed, because you need to chill the fuck out.
Yeah. Well, I've always been hypercritical of myself, and I'm always in my head and just constantly.
Yeah, but see, I don't think that goes hand in hand with depression, and I honestly think that's what you're feeling right now, and I don't think that has to go hand in hand with discontentment. Like, I think you can spend time being self-critical and self-analyzing and destroying yourself at all times, but you can also acknowledge the things that you're doing on a day-to-day basis and kind of take a deep breath. And that's a main thing that I speak to my therapist about, is just trying to acknowledge the things that I do within myself instead of looking for all of this worldly, kind of acknowledgement from other people. It's not like I'm a compliment whore, but that's kind of one of the ways that I get my being appreciated by people and stuff like that is one of the ways that I get fuel as a person. And I see that's similar to you, but a lot of the time you're looking for ways to compliment yourself, but you have this bar that's super high that you're not going to hit it, and so you're just, instead of not complimenting yourself, you degrade yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? So instead of not hitting that bar and just going like, oh, okay, let's try next time, you go like, oh, you didn't hit that bar? You're a piece of shit. That's what you do. And
well,
so,
I'm a perfectionist. Like, that's...
I am too, man. I am too. I know, dude. Like, there's a reason that I listen to all of our podcasts like once or twice, because I'm like, oh, this. Like, there's a reason that by the time that the next podcast comes out, I know everything that someone's going to say to us negatively is because I've already listened to it also. And I'm constantly degrading myself also. But I still realize that there's other things that I do that I am good at, and that's enjoyable. You have been doing martial arts for like 2 months now, 2 months, right? So just because you're not head kicking dudes, like, I mean, maybe you have been, but just because you're not knocking dudes out doesn't mean that you're not a good martial artist or that you're not making growth there. And I'm not saying that you didn't say anything about that in the last podcast. You weren't talking about martial arts, but you know, I'm addicted to combat sports. I mean, but like, there's this like lack of acknowledgement of growth. Like, you know, like what Nathan was saying. Like, you talk about how like school is the worst thing, but then you encourage other people to do it. When really, like, you need to like be taking a step back and acknowledge why you're doing it. And it's not because you like college. It's because you're trying to get somewhere. You know, it's juice. Is the juice worth the squeeze? And then you have this thought where it's like, oh, I should just sell everything and stop my progression, stop all the progression that I've been like putting in time for, so that I don't have to deal with this issue again in the future. You've been like, hey, let's stop that. Let's drive across the country and get Instagram famous.
Yeah.
Like, you see what I'm talking about? And see, it's like, I honestly think this state of mind where you're at is 100% going to be done when Tess comes back.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if everybody's, like, fully aware of my situation. Like, I'm in isolation. Like, essentially, I'm a fucking hermit. Like, Rebecca is the only other... Well, Rebecca and then my buddy Bradley. Those are the only two people here that I have that I can actually, like, hang out with. Like, Bradley, I've gone to the gym with a couple of times. Rebecca will say, hey, let's go to the gym every now and then. And then... she'll be like, hey, I'm going out to fucking Aggieville with my friends. You want to come chill or whatever? So that'll get me out of the house every now and then. But for the most part, I'm sitting in the house, like, just staring at a wall, fucking thinking or working on homework, or like, it's just this mundane repetition to where there's not a whole lot of stimulation. Like, even like, I'll go to the gym and lift, I'll go to school, I'll come home, I'll do some homework, I'll go and do jujitsu, and those things all sound awesome. It sounds like that's a solid way to live, but because it's become so routine and there's no challenges or outside influences at all, it's just like another form of me sitting at the house. Like, it's so...
I mean, this might be a really loose interpretation, but I think that also has something to do with it. You don't have someone to come home and not necessarily brag about these things to, but to talk about them with. It's not exciting because no one gets to watch it. You know, it's fun to do stuff for yourself, but it's much more fun to do shit for yourself and then tell other people about it. Why do you think we have a podcast? Because we want to tell everybody about our shitty lives.
Yeah. Like, well, I mean, I don't even know if it
I don't
would
think
be
it's a strive
that.
for attention. That's not necessarily what I'm saying. It's like, these thoughts that you're having are based off of like a sadness. Yeah. They're not based off of you're not progressing, because you're just not acknowledging that you're progressing. It's based off of the fact that you're not progressing and you don't have someone to there's no measuring stick at home right now, you know? Like, you don't have someone who's going to be excited about it, you know? You don't have... I mean, we are. I mean, I'd love to have you just tell me about the shit you're learning in jiu-jitsu. That shit's dope to me. Like, you could go into every technical idea, everything, and I'll just be like, all right, cool. I'd stay on the phone for fucking an hour and a half for that. Like, I know, but there's a difference, you know? There's this, like... So, like, my biggest thought is, it's like, if this is how you are while Tess is gone, and I know it's different because it's not the same thing as being single, are you sad as shit when you don't have a person also? All the time?
No. I mean, I was while I was in the military, but that was, I think, because of a lack of control in my life. Like, now, I've got so much wide open, just, I can do whatever the fuck I want, and that's kind of overwhelming. Yeah. Because I feel like I'm not doing enough.
Yeah.
But when I was in the military and I was single and just kind of doing my own thing, I was constricted and wasn't allowed to do whatever the fuck I wanted. So I don't know. I've gone through these polar opposites of being held in one place, unable to go and do anything. And I'm kind of still in that situation. Like, if I really wanted to, I could pack up all of our shit and move it somewhere. But I mean, that'd be stupid because Tess comes home in like 4 months. But
yeah, I don't think you should, because I think there's a different issue here that is needed to be had, and not that same thing. I think it's the idea of what you're trying to grow to, instead of acknowledging what you actually need to grow to change this. So I think you're struggling too much to grow your talents in a lot of things instead of trying to grow your emotional stability and understand how your brain is working and why it's working that way. Instead, you're putting it all on task-oriented things, and you're doing busy work because that's what you've been doing in the military for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was funny. I mean, I don't know if you ever want to, like, mention Voldemort's name. I'm not going to call her Voldemort. I'm just kidding. I love Christina. She's great. But, like, I think, like... So I'm wondering, like, have you ever been shit when you're sad by yourself? And then you say, only when I was in the military and I was single. And the time that I'm saying is, so the only time you've been single in the past 10 years is when you've been in the military. So the answer would then be yes if our case study is going off of the last 10 years.
Yeah.
You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So my question is, do you understand how to be happy? And I think the answer to that at the current moment, and based on, you know, what information we have to infer over lately, the answer is no.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think there are very few people who know how to be happy. I mean, it's becoming more of a thing, but I think from my upbringing and always told that I was never living up to my potential, and then finally realizing that I didn't live up to my potential, that's kind of become this underlying tone in my life to where I'm constantly trying to live up to a potential.
Yeah.
And I don't recognize any sort of growth in those potentials. Like, there are people out there who would say that I'm good at guitar, but I still think I'm a piece of shit at guitar. Like, I am not anywhere near where I want to be guitar wise and singing wise and physically. It's just, I don't think I'll ever be at a point where I'm good enough at anything that I'm doing. And I think that's infuriating because I do so many things and I'm trying to get so good at all of them. It's just, I don't know.
Well, I don't think that's impossible either, but I think your goals setting and the way that you're thinking about things is very easily changed. And, and I think if you have medical insurance, a good way to do that is through therapy.
not the fucking therapists here, because I have military health insurance. Military, meaning...
Oh, so you get shit.
Yeah, like, if I go on post and talk to them, it'll be okay, but they're just checking boxes. Like, they're...
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
You can't use anything off post?
You can, but then you have to pay a portion of that out of pocket, and it's like, I'm not looking to do that shit. Fuck.
I understand, but I'm just trying to say, like, I've had so much... I'm not saying you have to go to a therapist for this, but I've had so much change in my thought processes since I've been going to therapy for the last 3 months.
Yeah.
So I've been able to acknowledge that there's things that I don't need in life, but that I thoroughly enjoy having.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so like I've kind of learned not necessarily how to be happy but how to find happiness. I don't know if I'm happy. I think I'm very content lately. I think for the last month I'm pretty content. Nothing's been bothering me too much. I've been able to enjoy the things around me. You know, I've been stressed out just like everyone else happens to, but I've been able to understand that I don't need my relationship with my girlfriend, but I thoroughly enjoy it. Okay?
Yeah.
So, like, I have a lot of fun with it. And it's something that I'm not going to die without it. Just like I wouldn't die if I had to give my dog away. But there's something that makes me really happy about having him. Like, I would lose my mind. But I'd be able to understand how to find happiness on top of that point. You know? I'm not able to train at the gym right now. I don't have the timeline. I don't have these things. Even though being a good martial artist is something that's really important to me, I acknowledge that there are small steps that I can take to make that happen. And I see that I'm like, hey, at least I'm doing something. And I can have a fucking smile on my face, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, I'm not good at all the things that I want to be good at, man. Like, I would love to be able to throw, like, a double bar spin on a BMX bike, but because my brain switches out of hobbies, like, every 3 months, like, no, it's not going to happen. Like,
yeah.
You know, I'd love to be able to consistently head kick people, but it's like, I can only get one solid head kick off a round. That's, you know, it's like, there's, like, a lot of things that I see that it's like, hey, I have to grow towards this. It's not this 0 to 100 thing, you know? So to quote, you know, the almighty Gandhi that is Drake, started from the bottom, now we're here, Aaron.
Jesus Christ.
From the bottom, and now we're here, okay?
I don't know.
He doesn't say we started from the bottom and now we're at the top. He says now we're here. You don't know where here is. He doesn't show you where the fucking bar is, but you're somewhere and you've grown from the bottom. You started at the bottom and you get somewhere else, man. Like there's like you don't have to be the best at everything, you know? Like I see like Joe Rogan is a bad motherfucker, but he's not the best at everything. He has friends who do all the same things that he does. You know, like, he hangs out with the people who are savages. So he's kind of a savage, but he happens to be a savage at all these different things. But, like, Cam Hanes can outshoot him, like, with a bow. He can. Like, there's people who, I mean, I don't know. Okay, I was about to say there's people who can out-commentate him in the UFC. I don't know if that's true. Dominic Cruz is pretty fucking good, but I don't know. And then, like, but there's people who are better than him at stand-up. Like, he's been doing stand-up for 20 years, but I've seen him, like, live, and maybe it's just not my style of comedy, but I really loved it. It was amazing. It was wonderful. But I've seen other comedians who I thought had that, you know, that bloodline better, you know?
Yeah.
He does a lot of things, but there's always a better person out there, man. Like, there's always... Have you seen How I Met Your Mother, the TV show?
Yeah.
There's always a hotter girl. It goes the same thing with everything, man. There's always someone who's better at that than you are.
Yeah.
You know, like, I can talk about the science of, like, drugs all the time just because it's interesting to me, but I can go in the next room and talk to my girlfriend, and she just took, like, a fucking really intense class with, like, a 30-year veteran who's been studying, like, pharmacology and like different psychedelics for 30 years. She knows more than I do in years worth of study, and she took fucking 6 weeks of classes. Or not even like that long. You know? Like, she's smarter than me. Oh, sorry. Like, I can't be mad at that, you know, like that doesn't affect who I am, you know? Other people being better than me doesn't affect who I am. I am where I'm at, man, and I need to learn to enjoy that, or the time that I do spend, I'm not going to enjoy anything. Your accomplishments, if you don't understand how to, like, if you can't learn to understand that your small accomplishments mean anything, when you hit those big accomplishments, they're just going to be proportionally sized up and not mean shit to you either.
Yeah. Well, the problem is I don't have any, like, the only way to acknowledge my accomplishments right now is, oh, I got up and put clothes on. Like, that's... there's no... But that's, like, if I were to acknowledge that and be happy about that, I feel like that would be fucking stupid.
Okay, like, so you understand. That is too low to be your minimum bar, okay?
Yeah, well then...
All right. So then what would be your high bar? What's the best day you've had in, like, let's say the last 2 months?
They're all blending together. There's nothing that has stood out to where it's like, oh, that was a really good day.
Whatsoever. Nothing was enjoyable. Nothing. You didn't hang out with, like, Rebecca and her friends at Aggieville and actually have a laugh one day. You didn't watch 6 seasons of Adventure Time and thoroughly enjoy it. Like, you didn't see your dog smile and have a good time.
Not really, and maybe it is because I'm suffering from depression or some shit, but, like, there hasn't been an instance where I'm like, oh, that's a really memorable thing. I'm going to remember that for a while. Like, it's all just been, all right, well, here's another fucking day checked off until Tess gets back, and I can, like, I feel like I'm on pause. Like, there's things that I can do. I can go to school and all this shit, but it's just all of my goals with school or fitness or all that shit, all of them are so far out to where I don't have short little victories. Like, yeah, I could say going to the gym was a victory that day, but it's become routine to where that's just what I do. So to acknowledge that is just the same as, oh, I took a breath today, or, oh, I peed in the toilet today. I'm a big boy. Like, because they're so routine and because I'm so used to it, it's not as easy to acknowledge those as an accomplishment. Like, there's not anything that breaks up my day-to-day life, so it's harder for me to say, like, oh, that was a really good day. there's nothing there.
Sorry, I'm looking something up. I'll give you a statistic so that I can tell you to stop being a punk. Okay, so this is a bullshit statistic. No, there's no fucking way. So, Aaron, I can just tell you right now that you're better than 80% of Americans.
Oh.
The fact that you work out at all is a pretty fucking big deal. It honestly is, dude. Like, I've been working on projects for the last 2 weeks. You want to know how many times I've worked out? Once. I did some deadlifts for like 20 minutes. I worked out one time. You're doing 2-a-days, man. That's
yeah, but see, deal. I'm not. But
like, what you do is you take all these things that you do and all these things that you accomplish, and then you just go like, meh. But that's your choice. Like, I understand that you're like, this definitely has to be some sort of depression, because any other person with like a solid chemical, like non-chemical imbalance, like, would acknowledge that like what you're doing is insane, dude. It's a big deal. You're going to school, like, you're fucking keeping something alive. Pretty big deal. Your dog's alive right now, I assume. I mean, did you kill him this week?
No, he's alive.
Okay, so he's alive. So that's a pretty big deal. You kept something alive. You know, you've been working out like a savage. You're putting out blog posts. You're putting out content. You're enhancing other people's lives with content. Like, even if you don't think of that, you are. We have at least, like, you know, close to 10 solid people who are pretty fucking excited when we put these things out.
Yeah.
For no reason, because we don't talk about anything. Like, but they're excited. You know, they're genuinely excited. We increase people's, like, livelihood. They're more excited about their days when your shitty, depressed voice is in their ears.
Yeah.
You know, but you take all these things that you do, even though all of them are above par, man. Every single thing I see that you're doing is above par. All of it sounds pretty insane to me. Like, it's better than what I've been doing for the past couple weeks. All I've been doing is making excuses and woodworking. Like, that's it. I've been, like, hanging out in my garage and then just making excuses about stupid shit. And I've spent a lot of money on groceries. That's about it.
Yeah.
Like, but you've been fucking enhancing your mind, enhancing your body, enhancing other people's livelihood, keeping your dog alive. I'm going to keep going to that one, because you're harvesting a soul right now. But, like, I mean, I don't know what else to say other than I can't fucking wait for Tess to get back, because if that's just the magic, you know, tape that you just have to suffer through the next 3 months now?
4-ish, 4. I think. I don't know.
So,
but I think just because they're above par to everyone else doesn't mean that it's acceptable for me. Like, I think a lot of it has to do with separation from the military and still kind of transitioning with that, because there's no quantifiable evidence of what I'm doing. Whereas in the military, you'd get promoted, you'd get awards, you'd get sent to schools, you'd get to do all this shit. Well, now I'm pursuing a standard and there's no tangible or even just acknowledgement of what I'm doing. And I know that I should be able to acknowledge it myself, but when you spend 3 years of having people acknowledge it for you on a monthly basis in a counseling form, and then you go to, okay, well, now there's no one to kind of qualify my achievements. So it's, unless I'm like outside myself watching what I'm doing, there's no way for that to become a reality now. I don't know. It's just it's a weird thing to transition out of the military. Like, going to the gym at 5 a.m. seems outrageous to regular people, but I'm
a zombie till 7. It is a pretty big deal.
But in the military, that's the standard. Like, you wake up at 5, you get to the fucking PT field at 6, and you do PT from 6:30 to 7. Like, that was just how it was for 3 years. So for me, that's not that big of a step. Like, yeah, some days I wake up and I don't want to fucking do it, so I'll hit snooze and I'll skip that day in the morning. But for the most part, like, it's just what happens. And I mean,
well, if you want to stay in that style of life, I mean, I found this first place medal for $2.99 on Amazon. I can buy that and send it to you if you want.
No.
if you need monthly recognition of
Nope.
being a savage, I could buy you a banner that says Aaron's a savage.
I don't.
I'm just kidding. I'm just fucking with you. I'm just trying to make this a little more lighthearted because this is like, you know, this has been
Super fucking depressing.
Emotionally, no, it's just been an emotionally taxing episode. You know, it's been a lot of me telling you like, "Hey, Aaron, don't kill yourself," and then you being like, "But the bridge is right here."
No, like, I mean,
I know. I know it's not that far. I'm just joking again.
I've been to that bridge and I've been to that point, and I know that I'm nowhere near that because I know that what I'm doing is good enough, and my life is good enough to
what'd you
keep
just say?
on going.
Wait, what'd you say? Did you just say that it's good enough and that what you're doing is good enough? Wait, what? Huh?
It's good enough to not kill myself. Yeah, that's what I said.
Think about that more often. Take away that kill yourself part. It's good enough, man. It's better than good enough.
I just feel
you
like
need to learn to tell yourself that way.
Better.
Okay, I understand that, but do you need to look up like some like therapy style thing that you need to tape like a post-it note to your like mirror every day so that you can tell yourself that? I think your biggest problem right now is that you're refusing because you think that it's not good enough and because you think that your past has made it that way. You're refusing to change your style of thinking.
But
you're
that's
refusing.
That's an aspect of depression, though. Like,
yes, yeah, I understand.
Is that refusal? Like, I've always been an against the grain type person. Like, even when I was at the lowest of the low, people would tell me shit like, "Hey, you're doing a good job. You're this awesome person." Blah blah blah. And in my mind, I remembered the thought pattern, and it was like, "I know you're right. I am pretty cool. Like, thanks for being there and all this shit." And then I would have this thought that'd be like, no, I want to be pissed off. I want to be angry. I want to hate my life. I want to be a piece of shit. Like, there was just this counter current. Like, because they were acknowledging all of my successes, I wanted to be like, no, you're full of shit. Like, just because I don't know if it was maybe because growing up I was so just go with the flow and willing to take shit and all this stuff that it's kind of made my mind go backwards to where whenever I do get praise or compliments, I'm always like, no, fuck you. Like, that's when I'm choosing to stand up for myself, is when people and
when they're like, you're a piece of shit, you're just like, yeah, I know. And they're like, you're a dope motherfucker. You're like, you're a fucking asshole. Kill yourself. I hate you. Get away from me. I don't need your pity. Pretty much, like,
I don't know, because I was so reserved and so insecure and unsure of myself throughout the majority of my youth. Like, I didn't even really become sure of myself until ever. I don't know. Like, if I were to say, okay, this was a point where I became more sure of myself, I'd say once I started playing in bands. Like, that's when it was like, oh, okay, I'm kind of a cool person. And that's when I started getting recognition from girls and all this shit. Like, before that, I always felt like a charity case. Like, my first girlfriends were all friends of Ryan's girlfriends, and it was like, hey, I've got this friend who can't get any girls, and it was like, oh, I've got this girlfriend who's kind of ugly and can't get any dudes. So it was like, I feel like it was just the
all
ugly
of
friends.
Aaron's ex-girlfriends are listening to this right now like, this dude is a piece of shit.
And I'd say, yeah, you're right.
yeah. But then when you're like, but he was a pretty nice guy, you'd be like, fuck you.
Fuck you.
Did you get a new vape? What is that thing?
Yeah, it's the Snow Wolf fucking box bullshit.
Oh, you fancy.
Oh yeah, it was on sale for like $50. It's normally like $200, so I was like, fuck yeah.
Jesus Christ. Deals on deals on deals.
On deals. I think they're coming out with a new model and discontinuing that. But anyway, yeah, vape stuff. Vape life.
Sorry guys, we just totally cut off when we started talking about the gayest thing on earth.
Yeah.
So then, I don't know. I mean, like, I guess I asked this question earlier, but so do you think that all of this is going to change when Tess gets back? Like, you're just going to go back to being fine? Or do you still have these consistent thoughts when she is around, too? And they're just different, but they're like, you're not necessarily depressed, but you're still having these constantly degrading thoughts about yourself.
No, it changes when I'm around people. Like, it's the isolation, I think, that's getting to me the most.
You just need to rent a room out on Craigslist.
Shit.
I'm just kidding.
But, like, whenever I hang out with Bradley or Rebecca or whatever, whenever there's people around, I can get out of my mind and I'm engaging and interacting with people, and it's fine.
Sorry that I had to have this podcast to do the exact opposite of that. It's like, we're gonna fuck your mind now for an hour.
No, it's fine. But when I'm able to interact with people and kind of just shut my brain down, aside from listening and response, then I'm able to be present in the moment. But when I'm alone, and it's always been this way ever since I was little, like my mind just races, and I think of the most ridiculous shit. Like I'm really hard on myself because ever since I was little, like I felt like this fucking golden child. Like I was the first grandchild, so before anyone else came along, Grandma and Grandpa like doted on me like I was the fucking second coming of Christ or some shit. They
still talk about you like you are. You have to be the favorite.
and shit like that. Like it's fucked me up. Like because they held me on this fucking pedestal. It's like, well, why am I not there? Like why don't I feel like this fucking golden child? Why don't I feel like I've accomplished the things that this person would? Like that, growing up that way completely skewed my sense of accomplishment. Like,
I guess. I
feel like
my thought process though is, you're not a drug addict, and you seem to be progressing in your life, and you seem like to be at a reasonable place a 29-year-old person would be. Like,
I'm 28.
28, whatever. Sorry. You were talking about being 35 and dying earlier, so.
Yeah, well, yeah. But see, I feel like that's the fucking standard, though. Like,
So then what are you gonna do? Are you gonna spend the rest of your time worrying about, hey, am I at the standard right now? Or are you gonna worry about, hey, what am I gonna do in the next 5 years that's gonna change that?
Yeah.
So if you spend all your time like thinking about what you're doing on a week-to-week basis, instead of like acknowledging that, hey, 5 years from now it could be a pretty big deal. Like things could be way fucking different, because they will be. Like you're going to school right now. If you keep doing that, like you'll have a fucking degree in 4 years, which is a big deal. Like that's more than I'll have in 4 years. Like I wouldn't have a degree in 4 years.
Yeah. Unless
somebody starts just like shooting me with adrenaline and then just like does the like, what's that dude from Zoolander? Mufasa, what's his name?
Mugatu.
They brainwash me like that to like think in like numbers and
you're just gonna be fucking listening to Relax by Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
Yeah. Like that's a big deal, man. Like it is. And like, so I'm just like worried, man, because I think like you're spending all this time, and it probably is just depression, thinking about all this negative stuff. But the biggest issue with that, and I think what you should do, maybe that writing something on the fucking mirror is actually something that's helpful that you have to read every day. But it's like what you're doing right now and thinking about this is making sure that you're going to be in the same state 5 years from now.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is attacking yourself. You're attacking like all these cells that are causing growth, and you're fighting them right now. Like all this growth that's happening, you're like, fuck you, man. Like so you're doing it to people, and then you're also doing it within inside yourself, because you're not allowing yourself to get past it. You're not allowing yourself to grow because you're attacking all this work you're putting into growth. You're just fucking shitting on it every day. Yeah. You're shitting on all of it, man. Like, I bought a house like last year, and that's pretty exciting for a 21-year-old kid. Most people say that like that's fucking crazy, and everyone's super excited. To me, it doesn't fucking matter. My parents were super excited when I graduated high school. To other people, like I was like, that doesn't everybody like high school, not a big deal, But there's like, and then after a while, you got to think like, oh, okay. You don't compare yourself to anybody else, but you just think of, like, what have you accomplished? And it's like, well, I suffered through something for 4 years that I didn't like. That's an accomplishment. I didn't fucking like school. I hate school, man. I literally slept through my last year of school, but I happened to pass. That's a pretty good accomplishment. I can sleep and do schoolwork at the same time. I'm kind of a big deal. Like, that's exciting to me, like... I bought a house. It doesn't seem like a big deal to me, but it is. Like, other people are like, hey, that's cool, and I'm like, all right, I have to enjoy this. And then I realize, like, I'm sitting in something that I own, and it's like, this is exciting right now, you know? Like, even though it's not a big deal, my house isn't the nicest at all. If you look at it from the outside, it looks like shit. I have a lot of work to do, you know? But it's like, I did paint these walls. I did do that. That's something. My house isn't done. I don't have granite countertops, but I painted these walls, you know? And I have a green stripe around my garage. And, like, I used couches to turn, like, I used free couches to turn into, like, professional-looking wall pads for my home gym in my garage. Like, these are small things that nobody gives a fuck about. Nobody else cares. But to me, I'm like, well, that's kind of cool. I get to, like, acknowledge that. Like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
You know? Like, if you see, like, just everything that is around you, man. Like, just by driving to Manhattan, even if you didn't go to your jiu-jitsu class and you just drove to Manhattan that day, you had more motivation than like 100% of America, practically. You know, like 80% of America, you had more motivation just to get in your fucking car.
Yeah.
It's like if you put on one running shoe a day and don't even run one running shoe, not both, you're better than most people. You are. So like seriously, get a fucking post-it note and write some shit like you're a pretty badass motherfucker, or some shit like that, or like you got a fat hog compared to Dylan's like half-inch penis, you know, or like just something that's like that you're gonna see every day, like that excites you, man. Like, cause like you can't purposely put yourself in a place every day that every single thing in front of you is boring as shit, because the things you're doing are not, man. And you gotta at least try to do one fucking thing a day. If you gotta go do hot yoga like once a week to do something different that's gonna like somehow propel your brain to like a new chemical state that you're excited, or you have to go like fucking like snort some cocaine or some shit like that, like, dude, you gotta smile sometime, man. Like, I mean, and I'm one to talk because I get depressed all like pretty often, but like I don't know, I've been feeling good for the last month, I guess. But it's like, I think you're a bad motherfucker, and I think a lot of other people do too, and I think you need to stop disagreeing with that. Like, you need to, like, I'm right, you're wrong, shut your mouth, listen to us. Like, because
yeah, but it's,
I think you're doing a lot to grow, man. I really do. I think you're doing a lot. I think you're doing a lot more than most people, and if you keep telling yourself that you're not doing enough, that heart thing is gonna happen a lot quicker. It's the truth. Like, you're gonna put a lot more strain on that bad boy, and you're literally not going to have any ounce of fun, and you're going to have no more motivation to actually propel yourself to your goals, because you get 2 more months of this shit, and if it doesn't stop when Tess comes back, you're going to have a hard time for the next 5 years, and 5 years from now, you're going to be sitting in the same spot. And when if you were to think about like the things that you are doing, 1 month from now, you could be sitting in a completely different spot. Completely different.
Yeah.
On that note, yeah, so I guess we'll probably just go into closing statements. We'll do another podcast. Sorry, guys, you had to listen to like the most depressing. Send Newman fan mail and tell him to stop being a bitch. No,
Jesus Christ.
Do you get excitement from fan mail? I mean, yeah, maybe we'll just let everybody.
Not really, because lately it's been Nathan like. Responding.
That probably isn't helping. Yeah.
Like,
I know, I read the first part and I was like, I'm wondering if I would have read this about me, if I'd be mad. And I was like, maybe. It's like, this might hurt my feelings. But
it wasn't necessarily like hurt feelings. I just was like, oh, okay, well, I kind of expected that from him, because he's always been cynical, and like,
well, I think the first part, like the first little bit was cynical, but then once I read through it and it's like, I don't know, I'm just trying to put myself in his shoes or in yours. I'm like, I think what he's saying is honestly exciting, and he's honestly saying the same thing that I'm saying. Is like, hey, dude, you're doing some dope shit. You should just smile a little bit. Once
I reread it, I got that, but like,
yeah,
everything
Nate has to word everything like rainy Seattle poetry. He does. It's
not even that. It's just every time he starts a comment, it's always some sort of condescension or you did this wrong. It's like, okay, well, I'm not going to keep reading because I'm already in a shitty mood. So,
Nathan.
Like, I appreciate it when I'm in the mood to fucking get through that, but like right after having a panic attack and then just kind of bearing my soul at 3 a.m. and then reading that shit, I was like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna do anything with that. I'm not gonna do anything with that.
I understand that, man.
But I do get where he's coming from, and I do understand that how my brain is working. Like I can sit back and hear my inner monologue as it's going on and realize that it's stupid as fuck, but that doesn't make it change. Like, just because I can realize it doesn't mean that I put in the effort to be like, nope, shut up, stupid voice, quit telling me that this shit is dumb and just let me accept the good. Like, because I've been doing it for so long. Like, I got so used to being put down in high school and shit, and then I got let's go back even farther. When I was younger, I got so used to being put up on this pedestal of how awesome I was that I felt like I could never live up to that. Then in high school, it dropped me even farther because I was constantly shit on and picked on because I was the fat kid and probably pretty weird looking with my bowl cut and all that dumb shit. And then now I'm an adult and I'm kind of on the flip side where I do think I'm decently good looking to where I'm not
beard, man. If I'd lick that shit. I don't give a fuck.
But I'm not the fat kid anymore. I've got some muscle mass. It's decent.
Yeah, dog.
And I've got
hairline.
And I've got a fucking beautiful wife who I love ridiculous amounts, and
props. That's
fucking sick. But at the same time, like, I started off on a rocky foundation. So I'm already so far along in my building process of like, if this were a metaphor of a house, I've got a shitty foundation and I've just kept building and building and building and building, and now I got to tear the whole fucking thing down and kind of go back and replace the foundation. Okay, maybe not tear it down, but I have to renovate and fucking put it up on jacks.
Those are things that you don't have to. But even by saying, like, I need to tear it down, like, that's so far from correct, because what you really need to do is just, like, go down to the first floor, just walk down there. You don't tear down anything. Walk down to the first floor, pull up the floorboards, put some more cement down there. Like, dude, it's the truth. Like, you just need to, like, understand what you're thinking. Like, now that you've understood it, okay, what's something that you can change it? And I'm honestly, like, I'm not fucking around with this Post-it note. Like, maybe writing something down on a Post-it note that you have to fucking read out loud to yourself every day is going to help you. But, like, there's small things that, like, these things that you just, like, it's the same thing as, like, you know, you're gonna live without taking Alpha Brain. But if you take it, you're gonna feel better. And so I'm telling you, like, if you're going to live, if you, like, you're going to be okay, even, like, you understand you're not at a point where you're going to kill yourself, but you're just going to be a sad and, like, not able to grow, like, kind of, like, sad excuse for yourself, like, of Aaron Newman. Like, you're being, like, a broken version of yourself right now.
Yeah.
And, like, if you want to be great, you need to start acting like it and at least have some cognitive dissonance and, like, fight that shit for a little while and fake it till you make it, because, like, you're only going to get better if you act better and you start feeling better, because you can't be this awesome person on the outside and be a gross shell on the inside. You can't do that, man. Like, and so, I mean, I'm about to just text you, like, hey, what's some cool shit you did today? So that you can, like, fucking smile for a second. For sure, I'm going to do that now. But, yeah, man, I think you should maybe try that Post-it note thing, or just fucking watch a YouTube video on how the fuck to compliment yourself or some shit like that. Like, just saying Sumse out loud or some shit. Like, you'll feel better. Yeah, dude, I love you. I want you to be in a fucking better headspace. And, we'll do a more lighthearted podcast next time. Guys, I said on it 5 minutes ago, maybe 2 minutes ago. If you guys, they're having a sale right now. All On It apparel, or not all of it, but some of it is between 30 and 50% off. Some pretty badass hoodies, some cool ass t-shirts. There's some trucker hats that are pretty fucking sweet. I'm probably gonna do myself an order through the link on our website. Hint,
shit!
Buy some Alpha Brain, maybe some T Plus if you're trying to get jacked. You want to get excited, Alpha Brain. yeah, man, it's great stuff. I think it really propels you to that next level. Even if you're a bad motherfucker and you want to be a grade A savage, it's just stuff that earth-grown nutrients. It just fills your body with what you need to turn that fuel into something positive, both mentally and physically, and something that's really excited. I just got myself some kettlebells. I'm pretty stoked.
Oh,
to start
shit.
working out with that shit. Yeah,
that'll be dope.
Excited. But we'll get into that in the next podcast. We'll run out of time. My girlfriend's gonna get mad here in a second because I'm sure she's very hungry and she wants to eat dinner. So,
oh shit.
Yeah, on it, guys. Go through our website, please. Aaron will get a kickback so he can, keep being the host of the podcast.
Yeah, I said in the other podcast, the one with Scott, that I mean, everyone's going to hear that one and then obviously hear this, but I'm telling you that I got a check from Onnit for $109, and that actually helped pay for the web hosting deal.
Yeah, web hosting. Yeah, dog, that's sick, man. Sweet. Funneling it back in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm about to spend like $200 on their website. So. Well, you'll get a kickback for that too, Newman.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, if you guys want any really awesome supplements, any strength conditioning stuff, guys, go to Onnit. If they have, like, a special compliment thing, you can just put Average Ghost Podcast in the bottom. That would be super dope. So they just sponsor us and give us supplements. That'd be cool. All right. And then if you guys buy anything from Amazon, we also have a link on the website. It's probably in the dig section, correct? All of this stuff?
No, it's just on that one podcast that we did, so I'll move it around to the digs shit.
So if you guys want to buy anything from Amazon, do it through our link. That'd be awesome. If you want to find us, it's Average Ghost Facebook / Average Ghosts. Yes. Right.
Yes.
I'm getting a nod from the host. So
yes.
It's that. Newman, you can do the other 3, and then we'll close.
Fuck. What do you threw off
Twitter,
my rhythm.
Twitter and Instagram.
You threw off my fucking rhythm.
Twitter
at AVG Ghosts, and then Instagram, it's just we don't have an Average Ghost Instagram. Maybe we should get on that. But Dylan is Dylan Whiskey Alpha spelled out, and then I am A Newman 9000. And then,
rate and review this podcast on iTunes. Not this one, the other ones. Not this episode. This episode's depressing. You'll give us 1 star. The other episodes, they're exciting and fun. Do those ones,
super
please.
Awesome, full of laughter and fun.
But we're trying to get our host here back in a healthy state of mind so we can put out some dope shit.
Oh, dope shit.
I fucking love you. This has been the Get Better Aaron Newman episode of the podcast,
also known as the 12th episode of the Average Ghost Podcast.
We love you guys. We're out.
Later.